another episode of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks. We got Timo reporting live from the streets of London.
I'm on the streets, man, getting in my ear to the ground, hearing what the people are saying.
What are they saying about our 4-0 Eagles?
Hold on. Wait, hold on. Pause that.
No, this is going in. This is comedy.
Wait, hi, you can settle down. I think because when the recording happened, I think it threw off my service a little bit.
It's possible. I was just talking to myself, so.
Okay. All right. Wait, it seems like it's okay now.
Yeah, there's definitely a delay, but we're working on it.
Okay, no, but you seem okay on my end. I think it was just once you clicked record, it was thrown off. It was paused and all that good stuff.
Okay. We'll throw that bit in. But yeah. Fuck it, yeah. So live from London, all right. The streets look lovely. Not as lovely as our Philadelphia Eagles, top offense, top defense. How you feeling after that nice win on Sunday?
It was very nice. Listen, I gotta tell you, a couple weeks ago, I said we were the best team in the NFC. Can we confidently say we're the best team in the NFL right now? I mean, record-wise, but also just general eye test.
Yeah, I mean, I know every time you see something about the Eagles now, it's like everyone's like, oh, they have a pancake schedule, this and that. I'm like, yes, but like, it's not like they're not decimating these teams. You know, they're like putting up numbers, like they're tops and everything right now. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're a full, complete team. Every aspect of this team is awesome, minus the punting.
Yeah, special teams is rough, a little rough, but
I mean, it's just it's also amazing how like we've gotten this far, and it's just irrelevant how terrible our punter and returners are. Like it's just they're like blips on the radar. They're so bad, but it doesn't matter. We just continue to just wax teams.
Yeah,
I gotta say, this game in particular, this was the best win they've had this whole season. The last two were nice because those games were done by halftime. But this was the best game by far, I think. I think the Jaguars were the best team you played so far. It was also, you saw some grit. The team went down pretty quickly. Yeah, they were down 14-0, like I think in the first quarter. Hurts made the mistake with the pick, and the defense just let the Jags march right down them, made it look easy. Mm-hmm. But they responded, man. They went out there and responded. And I got to give a special shout out, man. Hurts put that team on his back. There was the one sequence. It was the two quarterback dives he ran in the red zone. The one moment where he lowered his head right on the goal line with Devin Lloyd, blew him up, and he just went and got that touchdown. And you needed that, especially in a game that was raining and miserable as that was. You were there, so you could lighten us on how horrible the weather was. But you knew that this game was going to be sloppy and running. You weren't going to be able to pass. So if you went down by 14 or more, you were going to be in trouble because you weren't going to be able to just pass your way out of this. And Hurts put his head down and made big play to go score that first touchdown. Once he made that touchdown, the whole game changed. The whole momentum, everything changed.
Yeah.
I was very impressed by our starting quarterback went and changed our fortunes.
Yeah, I saw on ESPN someone described him as a quarterback in the pocket, a running back in the field, which is so like, and not like a Lamar Jackson, like he's like the super athletic guy and like, you know, could make you, you know, you can't even catch him. Hurts is like a power back. Like he will run you over. So I'm 600, what was he doing? 600-pound squats or whatever. It's a big man.
Oh yeah. It looks like it. Listen, man, every one of those pounds on that squat rack came in handy when he trucked Devin Lloyd on that touchdown. I mean, not many quarterbacks are putting their head down and going against the linebacker like that, but they absolutely needed it too. It was massive. That changed the fortunes. Everything changed from there. They showed some grit, man. We cruised for the first 3 weeks, and then they had to fight back and win a game that they were losing, and it looked good. It was very impressive.
Yeah, it was a good test that they needed because they were cruising through. I saw that. Well, first I'll point out that what you said. Yes, I was at the game. It was miserable, but it was a good experience. I mean, Nick and I went. Basically, at the end of every quarter and then halftime, we would just go into the club level to kind of dry off because that's how bad it was. Because it's not that it was raining; it's that the wind was just throwing the rain everywhere.
Tell us, since you were there, you were in a poncho. It looked nice.
Oh yeah. I had. well, I wore jeans and they got soaked.
That's a
And
horrible decision on your
yeah,
part.
but I had a hoodie and then I had a jersey on top and then I had a
Okay.
raincoat, which didn't work because somehow my hoodie got soaking wet underneath the raincoat. Riddle me that. And then I had a poncho over top and I still was soaking wet. So the rain was going in and out of wherever it wanted. It wasn't too cold. I mean, by the fourth quarter, it took me about 5 minutes to type one word in the text message. My hands were so cold,
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I can imagine
um,
those fingers weren't working.
but yeah, like the Jalen Hurts run, like we couldn't like it looked like he fumbled from our view, and um, I don't know, but like like you said, he's leading the charge, most improved player of the year, top three in MVP voting right now. I'm pretty sure,
Oh yeah, oh
or
easily,
odds, not
easily.
voting, but um, yeah, it's just an all around. But that's the thing is like it's an all around. Every game is an all around unit effort. I mean, besides special teams, but
Yeah, they stick.
like offense will come to play, and then like even in the Lions game, like the defense gave up some points and yards at the end, but then they like held it
Oh,
together.
they've locked down since
This
then.
game, my God, that Bradbury jump on that throw to pick it off, that
Was beautiful.
that excites me.
Yeah.
That was it was great.
You know what? I think one of my other favorite parts of the game, I think the Jalen Hurts just trucking Devin Lloyd and getting the end zone when you needed it. That was probably
Mm-hmm.
my favorite part of the game. My second favorite part came in two different instances, but it covers the same thing. And we gave credit to Howie last week, but like, look at the move. Slay went down, and then Bradbury played like a number one corner, went and made a massive interception, like you already
Yep.
alluded to. And then the final drive. Did you know the Jaguars had the best rush defense going into the game? They were only allowing 55 rushing yards per game going
Yep.
into this Eagles game.
Yep.
And the final drive, when everyone knew the Eagles were going to run the ball, kill the clock, and they ran all over the Jaguars, killed the clock completely, and won the game. And they did it with two backup offensive linemen when Mulata and Semal were out.
Yep.
Like, you just ran all over the number one rush defense when they knew you were going to run the ball, missing half your line, and it looked easy. Like, just the depth on this team, man. Like, if the injuries will happen, we had a few this week, but nothing serious. Like, the depth is there. They rolled with it. Driscoll played really nice at left tackle. Who was it? Apeta, I think, came in for a little bit. He had his moments.
Yeah.
Bradbury's no slouch, but he played like a number one corner, when he needed to because Slay was out. All in all, terrific game. And then, I mean, Reddick, again, now that he's not in coverage anymore, came with a huge strip sack. Just everything, all the additions are coming together beautifully. It's so nice.
Yeah, it's hard to find any faults with this team. But yeah, they're playing really well. I mean, even like if you look at like the stats, I mean, it's only 4 games, but like it's still pretty impressive. I mean, we have a bunch of players that are in the top fives of like numbers, right? We got Jalen is fifth in passing. Never would have predicted that.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders is third in rushing. His buddy Saquon, both Penn State boys, number one. AJ Brown is third behind Hill and Diggs in receiving
he's so
yards.
good. I love watching him play football. He's just like, there is no answer for him for opposing defenses. He's too good.
Yeah. And then we have, I mean, Hassan Reddick's, I think, in the top 12 or top 10 for sacks. And then Darius Slay is tied for fifth in interceptions. So, like, everyone is putting out numbers. Everyone is putting in effort and performing on the field. So it's just everything's coming together, and it's you hope it doesn't get
beautiful.
derailed, but it's looking good.
Listen, the offense is clicking. They run the ball well. They pass the ball well. Their skill players are stepping up. Their quarterback looks awesome. The defense is stout. They sacked Wentz 9 times, and then, I mean, Lawrence fumbled a couple by himself, but like they had 6 turnovers or 5 turnovers or whatever it was. The depth is there. Like, the only thing we can criticize is the punter stinks. And like, if that's the only thing you're criticizing, like, this team is going to be very good.
Yeah. And I posted earlier. So Hassan Reddick did win NFC Defensive Player of the Week. So that puts the Eagles at 4 straight weeks of a Player of the Week. So we had Zach McPherson, Special Teams Player of the Week. Then we had Slay. Then Graham. And these are all defensive guys too. Slay, week 2. Graham, week 3. For like what? He had 3 sacks on Wentz or 2.5 and a fumble.
Yeah.
And then Reddick with his 2 sacks, both were strip sacks, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, Lawrence was just giving the ball away. I mean,
Oh
I know
yeah,
it was
it
wet and
was
all,
wet.
but Jesus,
Yeah,
man, hold on to the ball.
yeah. Another.
So going off that, we should just make weekly predictions on who's going to be the player of the week um, from now going on. I think I honestly, you know what? I think it's time. I'm going to go next week. I got to say, AJ Brown, offensive player of the week next week. I think they get in a shootout with the Cardinals, and I think he comes up big and puts up some points and some stats next week.
Yeah, I can see that because I am worried going into that game. The Cardinals are very slow in the first half, and the Eagles have I'm pretty sure it's an NFL record for the most points scored in the first 4 weeks in the second quarter. They have like 88 points in the second quarter. It's insane.
Yeah, they do come
Um,
out hot. Give them
yeah,
that.
so my prediction is that the Eagles will come out with like a strong like a 17-3 lead at half. Let the Cardinals creep back in because Kyler does his best work when he's panicked and running around the field like a madman.
I
So
know.
I feel like the Cardinals game will go down to wire, so it'll be another good test of how they hold a lead or how they're able to withstand a juggernaut offense even without DeAndre Hopkins. But and the Ertz is back, so it's 3 straight weeks of returning
A lot
players.
lot of returns there. Now, listen, hey, Howie has got to feel the greatest. The team looks great, and he just went and beat Doug and Carson, and looked pretty good doing it. So I know he's on his shit probably right now. He's probably feeling euphoric, but things are looking pretty good. And I'll shout out to Dougie P because that team, the Jaguars, look pretty good. I mean, they made a lot of rookie mistakes. They had like 6 drop passes, all the turnovers, bunch of penalties, but I mean, they look good. Dougie's got him going in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, and my thing, looking at some of the numbers too, is like I know people are saying it was a weak schedule, but I mean, you look at the Lions somehow are like the number one offense in the league, right? They're scoring points like
Yeah.
crazy. The Vikings have a very good offense, and they're now 3-1, only losing to us.
Yeah.
The Washington is hit and miss, but they definitely have top playmakers. And then the Jags
Yeah.
are a young, fast team with a good quarterback. But even with all that, Eagles defense has been holding up well. They are actually first in sacks after we were bitching about the pass rush. I mean, the
It's
Wentz game
true.
helped, but
I mean,
um,
Reddick not playing coverage anymore is good.
that's true. We're tied for first in takeaways, third in
Love that.
yards allowed per game, and
Yeah.
10th in points allowed. So
I,
pretty
I mean,
good.
besides like 3 or 4 series against the Lions where they forgot how to tackle,
Yeah.
they've looked like the best defense by far.
Yeah, probably since Super Bowl. I think Super Bowl we
Yeah.
were right the number 3 defense if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. So but
Good
beyond the
things to come,
birds.
man. We're rolling. We're rolling. The last undefeated team in the league. I mean, I don't remember the last time the Eagles were the last team, undefeated team in the
It
league. So
might have been before our birth. So
it's gonna be, I'm not gonna lie. Eventually they will lose. It's gonna feel
maybe.
weird when that happens because I'm just living on cloud nine because they've exceeded all my expectations. We look awesome. And it's season that like you had doubt, they knew the team was there. They had a great offseason, but you had some doubts. You weren't sure. You didn't probably pencil them in as a Super Bowl contender going in. And now in 3 or 4 weeks, you can lock it in. This team is going to be a contender the whole season.
Yeah. And I mean the Jazz, I think it was the Cardinals last year. We're like 7-0 and then they obviously fell.
Yeah, but that's a train wreck of a team. They,
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, there were other games. So just quickly going through those. Um, we had Thursday. Bengals took care of the Dolphins. Tua should probably retire at this point.
yeah,
uh,
bad week for the NFL.
yeah, that
And six.
concussion looked bad because it looked like his hand seized up or something, and yeah, it
Yeah,
was
that was
not a
one
good
of the
look.
more ugly ones. Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask your opinion on this because it's kind of disturbing the society we live in, where like we love car crashes and seeing people's gory images, and we love
I mean, I don't, but
violence and all this. Yeah, I was like, man, this is. I know they do this every single game in every NFL game, and they've done it for years, where they like replay slow motion injuries. But I had no business seeing that hand of Tua's on that field. That really
yeah,
made my stomach
that
turn.
that's one of those you gotta. I feel like cut that. It's saw it once. That's enough for me. It's uncomfortable and
Yes,
it's
tough week. Roger was at that game too. Tough week for him because even I don't know if you saw the Tampa game where Kevin Brate looked like he got his clock ringed,
yeah.
and I mean, not only did they not whistle him down or have an injury timeout, they like let him stagger off the field. I think they got a 12-man penalty. and then he like went back out a couple more plays later. So just not a great week in that discussion. I think that's the leading topic right now in the NFL, which is never good.
Yeah. Anyways, we had the London game. Vikings beat the Saints on a field goal that went off the uprights and missed for the Saints. So
Double doink, man. That was a stressful one. A lot of NFL fans this week, I can confirm.
oh, that's
And we
cool.
got another one this weekend.
Oh yeah, that's right. Giants, right?
Correct. Giants and Packers, baby.
Oh, okay. Shootout of the week was the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. You couldn't have bet money on that.
I am just shocked.
48-45. And the craziness is the Seahawks built a huge lead and the Lions just kept coming back. And I was like, who are these teams?
The Lions were missing so many offensive players, and like it didn't matter. They just put up so many points. It's actually ridiculous. I saw a tweet. I forget who it was. It was like if the Lions were a bad defense, they'd be 3-1 right now. The defense they're playing right now is just like I think it's the worst defense I've ever seen. Like it's just ridiculous.
It's kind of weird because I feel like every year we go through a phase where we're like, that's the worst defense we've ever seen. Like 2 years ago, or like 3 years ago was Seattle. Then like 2 years ago was Dallas. I forget who it was last year. Now it's the Lions, and it's like
I don't know. The Lions are really this is ridiculous. I mean, how many points have they given up so far this season? They got to be averaging like 35.
The most by far. Yeah,
it's insane.
Zach Wilson returned and led the Jets to a late comeback victory over the Steelers, and boy, it looks like Mike Tomlin's gonna have his first losing season because the Steelers' next 5 games are all like juggernaut teams, so they're about to get walloped.
Hey, but that Kenny Pickett stuff now. So
woohoo!
Things are changing.
Yeah. Giants beat the Bears 20-12. Somehow they're 3-1. Saquon's looking good though.
Saquon is looking good.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor, however, I think is out for this next game, but the Titans beat the Colts 24-17. A good game from Derrick Henry. Chargers beat the Texans 34-24. I'm telling you, these Texans are weird. Like they hang in these games somehow. They got something going on over there, but
I don't know. That game was beat down, and then they put up some garbage time stuff. The Texans stink.
Well, at least they don't lay down and die. So
yeah.
Falcons are probably one of the most perplexing teams because they seem like they suck, but then they still are in every game. They beat the Browns 23-20. Cowboys, their defense unfortunately looks pretty legit. They beat the Commanders 25-10. They are also 3-1. Somehow with Cooper Rush, that shit's mind-boggling. But
I really surprised by that.
Eagles beat the Jags, obviously 29-21. The Bills beat the Ravens, and they were down 20-3. That was a great comeback.
That was a weird game. Obviously, Marcus Peters was ripping John Harbaugh a new one, and I think he deserved it. To be honest, it was pretty ugly the decision making there.
Yeah. Cardinals signed on to beat the Panthers 26-16. Raiders get their first win of the season, beating the Broncos 32-23. Let's see. The Packers needed all 10 minutes of overtime to beat the third string quarterback of the Patriots. So that's a little concerning, but they won. The Chiefs absolutely decimated the Buccaneers. 41-31 is not an accurate depiction of that game. Like, it wasn't close. It was very impressive. And then another strange one, the Niners just manhandled the Rams. Stafford looked like he couldn't do anything, couldn't find any receiver who wasn't named Cooper Kupp, and the Niners hold on to win. So that is
what happened to Allen Robinson? Like, I'm just confused by this guy. I feel like for years we were talking about how Allen Robinson is a top 10 wide receiver. He's awesome. He's this, he's that, but he plays for the Bears. He's got Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, Matt Nagy, this and that. And then it goes to like literally the best offense in football. And they get rid of Robert Woods. They get rid of Odell, where he walks. And Allen Robinson has done nothing. Like, he's irrelevant. They're going to throw the ball 80 times to Cooper Kupp instead of throwing the ball 5 times to Allen Robinson. I just don't understand how little of an impact he's making. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they need to start putting up some wanted posters in the locker room, see if they can find them. But
Like McVay is a great coach. You figure he would find a way to get Allen Robinson like I don't know 5 catches a game maybe. Like we're not asking for too much.
that's true. All right, Timothy, do you have your studs and duds this week in the streets of London?
Of course I do. Of course. So
Okay.
obviously we're still high. I mean I've been happier this past month than I have all the other 11 months of this year so far.
Well, except for August.
Um, I, well, yeah, that was a good time too, but this rivaling it. So, got a theme this week on the studs list. We're going all single position. So we have all running backs this week. The
Oh,
running
okay.
backs came out big. Everyone says the running backs have no value, and we got a couple of, I wouldn't even say they're elite running backs. They were like middling tier, average guys, okay guys, and they came out and balled and were big parts. So let's kick it off with a guy that was part of the highest scoring game by far this year, and one that was just kind of shocking. And a team that's kind of shocking. I mean, I don't think anyone saw this coming from the Seahawks at all. But
Mm-mm.
my man, Rashad Penny, went for 17 carries, 151 yards,
Shoo.
8.9 average, which is just ridiculous. 2 touchdowns. And, hell, he even had 6 yards receiving as well. Astronomical numbers, just ridiculous. The 8.9 yards per carry is just insane. He's my number 3 stud because I think I could run for 100 yards against the Lions defense. But take nothing away. He's been balling, especially this year. Him and Gino have been the surprise tandem no one saw coming.
Yeah.
Moving on to another running back who I think has been, a little iffy. No one knew what he was doing. I think there was rumors he was going to get traded. There was times that he was going to get cut. He played the last preseason game, which everyone was confused by. I think a lot of people have talked about this passing game, especially when they brought a new coach, traded for arguably the best wide receiver in football. But it was the running game that came out big, especially against a division rival and a win they had absolutely needed. So they got their bell cat running back, 28 carries, 144 yards, 2 tutties,
Mm.
and he threw in 31 yards receiving in a game they absolutely needed, and he stepped up big time. So we're going with Josh Jacobs as the second stud.
Beautiful.
Yeah, no, listen, running backs came out big and came out to play this week. Next one, our number 1 stud of the week. And I could say maybe I'm a little bit of a homer. Maybe. Maybe I'm giving him extra points because he did it against the number 1 rush defense going into the game.
Oh.
Maybe I'm giving him extra points because it was just a sloppy, rainy mess, as you confirmed. You took you 5 minutes to tweet something, and he still managed to just run all over this team when everyone knew they were going to run the ball.
True.
With two offensive linemen get hurt. So we're going to go with Miles Sanders, who looks like he's just having a resurgence. 27 carries, 134 yards, 2 tutties, and he had 22 yards receiving. All 3 of these running backs balled out today, but obviously I always give the tiebreaker to the Eagle. And Miles Sanders, I think a hat tip to him for this entire season because I think people were ready to get rid of him and move on from him, and now he's starting to change some minds. So Miles Sanders is my number 1 stud this week.
Love to see it.
Moving on to the duds, the favorite part of the week for Dakota. So we're going to with the running back theme because we're going to start out with the first 2 as running backs as well. So my first stud, I've got to say, is I think up there with one of the biggest shockers this season, how poorly he's played. I think he was the number 1 player in every fantasy draft. He was coming off arguably one of the best seasons we've seen from a running back quite some time, maybe, besides Derrick Henry. But he is completely irrelevant every single game this season and followed it up with a disgusting 20 carries for 42 yards, like a 2-yard average. Like, Jesus, that is just horrendous. I think all 3 of the studs I had on my list had runs of 42 yards or more. Jonathan Taylor had 42 yards in a game. And they really needed a win. This team looks like a mess. The Colts, I think me and you were both high on them. They look like disasters. They look like they're drafted top.
Yeah, they look better with a Wentz somehow.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor, just to make it laugh, like he had 1 reception for 1 yard. Like there's nothing. I just can't do anything. So my number 3 dud is Jonathan Taylor.
Damn, that hurts for you to say, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. That's right. I traded him on my fantasy team, so we're starting to,
You traded him? Oh my god!
Listen, he's really let me down now, and I think the Colts are a terrible team. I'm starting to turn my tide to the Colts stink.
Okay.
Moving on to another running back this running back, who I can't imagine that his team is too thrilled about his poor performance so far, because now they just lost their lead runner to a torn ACL and have to rely on this guy quite a bit going forward. The offense kind of looks like it's in shambles. That guy only had 3 carries for 8 yards. You're probably like, damn, why are you ripping on a guy so bad if he only had 3 carries? He also had 2 fumbles, bringing his total to 4 fumbles on the season. We only had 4 games fumble per game, let alone 2 fumbles in a game they lost to a division rival. That's not a good performance. He had 0 receptions, 1 target. I mean, you only got 3 carries because once you fumble twice, I mean, you're not getting the ball again. But unfortunately, now that Javonte Williams is hurt, they're going to have to give Melvin Gordon the ball. So my number 2 dud is Melvin Gordon, who just can't hold on to the ball.
Huh.
Moving on to our number 1 dud. Speaking about a guy who can't hold on to the ball, I mean, the only person, with more Butterfingers than Melvin Gordon this week was my number 1 dud, who fumbled the ball somehow 4 times. Also threw an interception, having 5 turnovers. I know he played through a monsoon, but my God, man, hold on to the ball. And fun little fact, this is the 2nd week in a row that the opposing quarterback to the Eagles is my number 1 dud. So going for 11-23, 174, 2 pick and 4 fumbles, we have Mr. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, he was handing them out.
There was like 3 of them that 2 of those fumbles he didn't even get touched. He just dropped the ball. It was just painful. I mean, I was thrilled watching it, but that was painful in some of those. I was like, dude, I feel bad for you. But yeah, that's and we'll see. Maybe Kyler keeps this trend going of opposing quarterbacks number 1 dud. So that's what we got this week.
Damn. Maybe we'll have Kyler Murray's dud number 1 next week if the Eagles defense plays well again.
It would make me so happy because he seems like a jerk. He's like a player that
he just wants to play Call of Duty.
Yeah, like he's like doesn't seem like he actually cares about football or like doing the work that he needs to, but also threw a hissy fit in the 2nd year to get a contract that I got to be honest, I think is going to look pretty rough in a couple of years for that team.
Alrighty, so moving on to our Too Much Whiz segment. Now, you mentioned the Seahawks a little earlier with Rashad Penny. So my question to you, Too Much Whiz. Geno Smith, comeback player of the year in his 11th season?
I'm going to say Too Much Whiz just because I don't think Geno Smith is going to keep this up. I mean, I'm shocked by how well he's playing. I was splitting hairs on either Rashad Penny or Geno Smith as my stud list, but I can't imagine he's going to keep this up. Right now, he's the comeback player of the year. I don't have anyone else that's even close in mind that could challenge him, but I can't imagine he keeps this going. So I'm going to say Too Much Whiz.
Okay. Next, as you pointed out, the Melvin Gordon was a lovely dud on this list.
Oh yeah,
and his team lost to the Raiders. Now the Raiders were in a bit of desperation mode, but the Broncos have not looked good really at any point. I mean, Russ probably had his better game so far, but it still wasn't great.
Somebody saying much.
So, Too Much Whiz. The Broncos need to fire their head coach in order to make a playoff run.
Oh, Too Much Whiz. You're not firing the guy in his first season. Yeah, I mean,
it's pretty bad.
I get that, but it's a brand new coach, brand new quarterback. You got to give him a couple games to like sort this out. I listen. I'm not going to make any defense. Like Russell's looked terrible. Or no, I'm sorry. Who? Yeah, oh yeah. Well, Hackett. I mean, I'm not really sold on Hackett. I'm still convinced if Rodgers was staying with Green Bay and everyone knew that, Hackett doesn't get that job. But what are you going to do? But it's his first season. There's no way they fire him. That would just be tragic.
All right, fair. And finally, we're gonna venture out into the what do you call it? Paparazzi a little bit here.
Okay.
Too Much Whiz. Tom Brady's recent reports of a divorce are because instead of staying retired and spending time with his family, he decided to choose football over them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very weird one. That is a weird one playing out. I did not see that happening.
it's very interesting to see Brady have any negative things happen to him. Like he's been married to a supermodel for a decade. He's
Mm-hmm.
got 7 Super Bowl
13
rings.
years, yeah.
Like he's the greatest quarterback player ever. Like he does this TB12 thing. Like he's super healthy, never gets hurt, never does anything bad. But now he seems like he's strung a little bit. I find it also hilarious that Cole Beasley retired after, I guess, 2 weeks with the Buccaneers because he wanted to be with his family,
I didn't even see
which is
that.
just amazing. I mean, good for Cole Beasley. I mean, he probably made like, I don't know, like $200,000 in 2 games,
Must be
two
nice.
game checks. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, that's not bad. It's like, oh, hon, I'm going to just take 2 weeks real fast, go play for the Buccaneers. I'll be back in 3 weeks. Tell the kids I love them.
Tell the kids I love them.
I think that's very interesting. I have to think that the football thing probably did piss Giselle off a little bit, especially because he retired and then unretired. I mean, I'm not much of a marriage counselor here, but I will say, I think in a weird way, I don't think anyone's talking about this. I think that the fact that he's now getting divorced from Giselle guarantees he's retiring next season. I mean, Tom Brady's single. He's already got the Fox announcer job. This guy's just going to travel around the country making a boatload of money, being Tom Brady, and probably, man, he's going to be, wait until you see the pictures of him at all the college bars. He's going to be the Urban Meyer. He's just going to be taking pictures of college bars, just traveling from city to city, calling games, being Tom Brady, being single, loving his life. But I think the thrill of being single and Tom Brady is ultimately going to make him retire. It's not the supermodel wife, but I think the prospects of being a single man guarantees he retires.
Retired bachelor Tom Brady. What a weird phrase.
Listen, I mean, the guy could be doing worse with his life.
Well, I guess so. All right. Well, that rounds up our, individual segments there. And so we'll get right into our power rankings. All right. So a little bit of movement and in our power rankings. And as exciting as I was last week to say the Eagles were in top 3, I'm even more excited to say that your Philadelphia Eagles are the number 1 team in our power rankings.
Baby. Let's go.
Never thought we would see the day, at least not in the next couple of years, but it's a nice feeling. Let's hope they keep this consistency up. I mean, we already talked on it, but this they're motivated. Jalen's a great leader. What was his quote? Rain, sleet, or snow, the Eagles go, something like that. So he's got them fired up. They're all trusting in the process. So.
Oh, this team's just top to bottom. So I was listening to Sirianni was on Pat McAfee's show, and like Sirianni's like the perfect mix, and he even like the best. I love Sirianni for this. Is like I feel like when he knows that he's being corny, or like when people are making fun of him or anything, or like joking about him, like he just owns it and like just moves on, like has no issue. Like the dude is him. There's no doubt who he is. He is Nick Sirianni, and like. He did mention too. He's like, I'm me. I have to be me. Like, I'm gonna be this like everyday turnover T-shirt. Rock paper scissors shoot, dog mentality, all that. But he's like, it's also great that I have 4 players like on the defensive and offensive line with Lane, Kelsey, Cox, and Graham, who like been there for a decade. They're amazing leaders, no nonsense. Like lead this to the locker room, and they like filter through like the comedy. Like when the teams like when players are clowning them or like. The media's laughing about the dog mentality or whatever. They like just filter out Nick Sirianni and just take on his mentality, but just bring it to the locker room. It's great. I mean, like you have like separate coaches, like he's just open about that. It's just amazing.
Yeah, he's funny. He's definitely funny to listen to. But
he's hilarious.
Love the passion.
Yeah.
Number 2, we have after a nice comeback against a good team in the Ravens, the Buffalo Bills. I would argue our top 3 power ranking teams all have the top 3 MVP runners right now. We have Hurts, Allen, and then coming at number 3, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Pat Mahomes was put on a clinic for how to just ball out against the Buccaneers. Pulled out all the magic tricks. I don't know if you saw the one where he was towards the end zone, did a little spinorama and just fucking flip. Shoveled that. I was like, this man is not from Earth. Just like Derrick Henry isn't. This guy's not either.
They're so good. I mean, I said it when they traded Tyreek Hill. Like, you knew he wanted a new contract, and you couldn't afford to pay him $30 million a year, especially when you have a $45 million a year quarterback. Like, the reason you have $45 million quarterback is because he doesn't need Tyreek Hill to like ball out, and he's just kind of proving that every single week now.
Yeah. Didn't have a strong showing, but they're winning. Tied. I think they're tied for first place in their division. Green Bay Packers, they're a little higher than maybe they should be, but that's just because that's, they're the Packers. That defense is coming along. They'll be good. Number 5, we have the Dolphins. Now we'll see what happens with Tua. See if that really. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is serviceable backup. He's started in this league, so we'll see where they go. Number 6, we have the Ravens. Man, they could be so good if they figured out that defense, which is weird to say for a Baltimore team, but they need a Ray Lewis pep talk or something.
They need to fire that defense coordinator. I don't even know what his name is, but they need to fire him. The decisions they make is just, I don't understand them.
Yeah. So then at number 7, we have the San Francisco 49ers. Really surprised with how they played against the Rams. Debo, I may have given him some shit in my top 10, but he's an athlete. He makes even Jalen Ramsey miss. So
yeah, I'm kind of used to this. Like, I could just keep this recording for every time that you shit on a player and they go out and ball out.
Anyways, Buccaneers are definitely hurting, but they're slowly getting healthier. Mike Evans back was huge for them, even though they got slaughtered by KC. But it was a good showing from him and Brady to connect again. They come in at number 8. Number 9, we have the Rams, who I feel like they're just beating themselves at this point. They're just not executing, not doing things correctly, and the defense is getting exposed, and Stafford can't find any receivers besides Cooper Kupp, and the line's not very good right now. So they're, all that said, they're still a top team, but they need to get stuff figured out.
I think they're floating on reputation right now.
Yeah,
they
and then
look really bad.
Number 10, you can make an argument for a couple teams, but just based on who they've beaten, and they're 3-1. The Minnesota Vikings. That offense will come to play. The defense is pretty porous in the pass. They're allowing a lot of yards through the air, but they're making plays when they need to. So, and that is our top 10. So, without further ado, we can go into our game picks. Now we do have Tim. I got to say, we're not doing. Last year we were like slaughtering the guest picker. This year's not looking too good. They're keeping pace with us. Even I'm having that bad go of things. So,
you know what? I think I'm getting too caught up in how good the Eagles are. So my whole daily life is kind of struggling because I'm just so like joyous and euphoric and just thinking about the Eagles all the time now.
Oh, that's what it is.
So it's kind of, maybe that's what it is. My mind is drifted elsewhere. So all right, let's get it. I'm feeling a big week.
All right. So like I was saying, we have our guest picker this week is Alex, aka Acor. He did not give me his picks in time, so he will be posted, but will not be part of the episode. But Thursday, we have the Indianapolis Colts at the Denver Broncos. Tim, as usual, you go first. Who you liking?
I mean, I just said I think the Colts are a terrible team, and then this season's going to fall apart, and their star running backs hurt. So I'd be a real moron if I would take the Colts in Denver. So I'm going to go with the Broncos.
All right, Broncos. Part of me wants to say that the Colts are going to figure something out, but part of me also believes that that's a fucking lie. So I'll go Denver. First game, Sunday morning, 9:30 over in London. Giants at the Green Bay Packers. I'm not going to think too much about this one. I will take the Green Bay Packers. I think
you're not buying the Giants at 3-1.
I think Saquon will have a good game, but I think this is what's going to happen. I'll tell you, the Giants are either going to play well, we'll have to start taking them seriously, or the Packers are going to just destroy them and expose them for the frauds they are. Now, I don't think it's also going to be that accurate because I don't know who is even playing quarterback for the Giants, because I'm pretty sure Jones is out and Tyrod had a concussion. So not much to worry. Saquon might be doing Wildcat the whole time. Who knows?
Yeah. To be fair, I was thinking like this could be a sneaky upset, but then I forgot that, they have mystery quarterback this week.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen, I'll keep the arm loose because they might need someone that understands the rules of American football in England over here and could take a couple snaps. So I'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think this is the matchup of frauds. I think the Packers and Giants are both frauds. They're both 3-1, but I'll take the Packers.
Okay. Both frauds. I got next is Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Who you liking?
The Bills, obviously. They're going to ruin Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, poor guy, has to start his first week against the Bills. They're going to ruin him.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go so well for them. So, yeah, I will take Buffalo as well. Next game, Chargers at Cleveland, the Browns. Quarterback is still not great play there. I know they're getting Myles Garrett back, but I'll take the Chargers here. They need this to get back on track. So
the Chargers are a very weird team so far.
They are.
I feel like they're a bunch of good names, and they play very inconsistent. They have great games. They have bad games. I'm going to take the Browns. I think they're going to run all over them. That Chargers defense missing a couple players, and they're not a strong run defense. So I think Cleveland wins this one.
Okay. Let's see. Next game, we have Chicago at Minnesota. Ooh. What did you always say about the Vikings?
Was I wrong? Did you see that Saints game? Was I wrong?
I mean, I missed half of it because I was sleeping, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, another team that I think is a fraud. Somehow the Bears are 2-2. I don't know when they got these 2 wins, but
they're garbage.
They're 2-2.
Justin Fields looks terrible.
I'm taking the Vikings, who surprisingly are 3-1 after they got their ass kicked by the Eagles.
Yeah, and they beat Packers week 1, so they're legit.
Yeah.
Next game, we have Detroit at New England. Man, I feel bad for the Lions, so I'm going to just take them out of pity to beat the Patriots. Patriots look pretty bad and probably are going to be on their third-string quarterback again. We have Craig Reynolds, Kutztown alum, plays for Detroit, had a couple carries last game, so
look at you.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, third-string quarterback or not, I mean, the Lions' defense is so bad. I think any third-string quarterback could probably score 40 points.
Fair.
I can't imagine this Detroit Lions offense is going to go berserk against a Belichick defense, so I'm going to take the Patriots. Plus, they're wearing those Patriot hat throwbacks. I think teams always play better in their throwbacks, so I'll give them the throwback edge.
Fair enough. Next game is we got a lot of close level competition this week. We got Seattle at New Orleans. You liking?
Well, the Saints are terrible, and we currently have a top 5 pick because they're terrible. I don't think they're going to get better. So I'm going to take the Seahawks, who are one of the surprise teams of the year. I think they're going to keep it rolling. So I'll take the Seahawks.
Yeah, I also penciled in Seahawks for this one. I just, like you said, I think New Orleans is kind of offensively in shambles. Kamara is still questionable, so who knows? Next game, Miami at the Jets. No Tua. I mean, he's not going to play, but I'll take Miami here. The Jets, they're sneaky. I don't know, but I'll stick with Miami here.
Yeah, they're still the Jets. Miami's got 10 days off. I mean, Teddy's
That's also
not a bad
true,
back
yeah.
to have. They have so many weapons. They'll be fine. I'm taking the Dolphins.
All right. Next game, we have Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Normally, I think that this could be a trap game, but the way Tampa's been playing lately, they definitely need this win. So lean towards Tampa there.
I mean, Tom Brady's personal life is in the news. I've never gone through a divorce, but I can't imagine it's very fun. So I think Tom Brady's going to go out and probably just vent all of his frustration out on Atlanta. So we're going to take the Buccaneers.
Sounds good. Next game, Tennessee at Washington. So, oof.
There's some ugly games this week.
Yeah, it's looking pretty rough.
You know what? Neither of those teams are very good. I mean, I'll take Washington because I think their defense is pretty solid. Carson Wentz just can't do much.
Okay.
But I'll take the Commanders.
All right. Well, then I will do the opposite. I'll take the Titans. I think Henry will struggle a little bit against this run defense, but I think he'll find something to do. Although I did see that all Titans receiving yards combined is only 20 yards more than AJ Brown right now, which is That's pretty.
They're pretty bad. I mean, Derrick Henry had a better game this week, but their offense in total has been pretty rough.
Yeah. But another fun one for you. We got Houston at Jacksonville. I think Houston is just going to be this team that every week could possibly upset anyone, but they're just going to falter anyways. And Jacksonville, I think, was embarrassed, and they'll want to have a nice comeback win. So I'll take Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles smacked the Jaguars, but I mean, they've done it to every team they've played so far, pretty much, minus the Lions, I guess. So I think that Dougie's going to get them back. The Texans stink. I'll take the Jaguars.
All right. Next game, San Francisco at Carolina.
You know what? There's two teams that are making me look really bad. The Colts, we've always touched on. The Panthers side,
I don't know what
really
you were
letting me down.
I don't know what you were.
I thought we'd get the Baker revenge tour. Man, Baker looks horrendous.
Baker sucks.
Yeah, the Niners are gonna make Baker's life miserable. That defense is like shit. Yeah. They're gonna destroy him.
Yeah. Next is Dallas Cowboys, who have somehow not lost without Dak Prescott, against the LA Rams. I gotta think the Rams just expose Cooper Rush for being a fraud. So I'm taking LA.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big matchup. Obviously, I think it's on national TV, that 4 o'clock window. The Rams have to step up. They have to, they know the pressure's on them. They have so much talent. They need to step up, which I think they can do. I'll take LA.
All right. And then game of the week, obviously. Eagles at Cardinals. You have the honors to pick first.
This one's easy. The Eagles are the best team in football. I'm not picking against them until they lose.
Fair enough.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. That's my pick as well. Sunday night, Cincinnati at Baltimore. I think Baltimore's defense is going to get them in trouble. I'm going to take Cincinnati here.
I was thinking the same thing. Long week off for the Bengals. The Ravens they seem like they got a lot of issues. Coaches versus players. That defense is horrendous. I'll take the Bengals.
All right. And then Monday night, the Kansas City Chiefs play the Las Vegas Raiders in KC. Who you got?
I want the Raiders to do better. I had them a little higher than what they've been going into the season. They got a big win, but the Chiefs look elite. So we're going to take the Chiefs.
Yeah. Statistically, I think I've correctly picked every time the Raiders upset the Chiefs. So I'm gonna use that as this game. And I think Raiders have a small amount of momentum. And I think maybe KC comes out a little sluggish and the Raiders put on a good performance. So I'll take Las Vegas.
Fair enough.
All right. And so that is our picks of the week. Tim, go inside, get some nice hot cocoa or whiskey or something to warm up, and go Birds.
Go Birds, baby.
All right.
I'll talk to you.
I'll catch you. Peace out.